No, like
I
August. Hi, board members, members of the audience. Let the record show that today is May 5th. The time is 5 o'clock, and we will now call the Amherst County Board of Supervisors Budget Workshop to order. And we will turn discussion over to Ms. Wilkes and Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The purpose of this workshop is simply to share the information that we have to date and the estimates that we're working with while we wait for more data to come in. Ms. Wilkes will do all the talking here, but she'll share our estimates and where they come from and what effects they'll have. And we're simply looking for you all to think out loud so we get a sense for which direction you're leaning as we try to finalize the budget that you're ready to present, you would want me to present to the community. So with that, Stacy's going to take you through, I think the latest slides you have are still correct. Stacy, you haven't sent me any of those.
Anything else?
Okay, so the ones that you have there in your system are the same things that she's going to talk you through. Go ahead, Stacy.
All right. So,
Keep that close.
I'm left-handed. Let's do this. I feel right. All right, so I want to first tell you what I did to make my adjustments to our revenue and why I did what I did. So real estate, I did reduce it 1%. And the only reason I only did it that much is because our real estate taxes are not going to be due until August 5th and then December. Everything I'm hearing from the economists 2 weeks in a row is this is a 2 to 3 quarter thing, starting with March, or the March quarter. So by December, we should be pretty much back to normal, which is when the next payment is due. Personal property tax, I did 1% because that's also due in December. Sales tax, I did 15% for the first quarter, 10% for the second quarter, and back to status quo for the last 2 quarters. Meals tax, I did 40% the first quarter and 20% second quarter, and back to status quo. Business license, I did 20%, and lodging tax, I did 25%. Now, we haven't received any lodging tax for March, so that's not a big number anyway for us. It's probably $5,000 maybe difference in my estimate. These are really tiny and hard to see, but Ms. Martin had asked to see what the revenue projections would look like. Claudia, can you go over those just a little bit? Because they're not seeing the whole screen. I just realized they're not seeing the bottom. So I lowered it about $600,000. We are very fortunate that we do not depend on sales tax and meals tax like some other localities do. They're not the majority of our income. A lot of our income is set based on it being aid from the state that's required for social services or different pieces of our organization. Taxes that are collected, I don't think anybody's going to get rid of a cell phone tax. So that tax isn't going anywhere. And I haven't seen anything come across from the state that tells me otherwise as of now. Are there any questions about my estimates and this projection?
I have a question.
Okay.
You said $600,000 loss? I thought it was around 700, but.
Oh yeah, you might be right. Okay, I thought that was a 3.
The current projection appears to forecast about a $700,000
reduction.
loss. Yeah. However, the budget revenue indicates a full recovery by January 1st. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you might have answered this, but what's the basis for that assumption?
So I meet once a week online with about 100 other finance directors, professors from Virginia Tech, and some state officials that have, and there's one particular lady, she's an economist, who has said this, that's their predictions right now, that's what the numbers are showing. It's a really deep drop. So the first quarter, we dropped 5.4% in the GDP for the whole nation. They're expecting it to go a little bit further down. But then it's gonna come back up in a, as she said, you slid down and you're gonna take the stairs back up. So it'll be a longer, like 6 month now, it's only gonna take you 3 months to hit the bottom. And then we're gonna climb back up. That's what I've been told the last 2 to 3 weeks. I have another meeting tomorrow. It could change. I'm just basing my information on the best information I have right now. But,
So this is with a meeting from 100 different finance people and, what'd you say, an economist?
economists, tech professors, we get the transportation, it depends on what we want to talk about that day. We had transportation in there last week. I've sat in on a Department of Commerce conference call, and nobody's seeing this as being any longer. It may take 4 quarters for Northern Virginia and the Eastern Shore, where there's more unemployment, more catastrophic business loss. We're just not seeing that on this side of the state. So that's where I get my information every week. And I listen to the governor every other day. Because I want to make sure I don't miss anything that's important to us. So that's where I get that from.
So are you positive that we'll see a full recovery? I mean, at this point, it's speculative.
Catch that dart.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've got it close, I feel like I've cut it far enough that even if we go a little further out, we're not gonna notice the difference. And you'll see that with the next slide when I show you how am I gonna explain a loss right now. Because I got nothing. This is,
So that's $700,000 reduction. So that's the difference between column 1 and column 2.
Right.
And that's no tax increase.
Right,
So then what's the reduction if we did have a 2-cent tax, a 4-cent tax, and a 6-cent tax? So even at the 6-cent tax, we're 43.7, we're still $200,000
you're 250, yeah, you're 250.
for next year's budget.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
so we're on that, this is a short-term effect that's going to occur. We're going to feel it right now, but the feeling of it, the effects of it, will become smaller as time goes on.
and I can tell you the other thing that we've talked about with the economists is that there is a possibility of it having a resurgence, but they're expecting that resurgence to be in the heavily populated areas of Northern Virginia, Capital Region, and the Hampton Roads region. Those are the really heavily hit spots. You'll see that on some of these other graphs. So I've been trying to make sure I give you guys up-to-date information. So our March meals tax was 13.1% more than last year at the same day, same month. And we went to reduce business and takeout on March 12th. I have not seen any April yet, but that is the number for March.
And just to share some information, I called the owner of the McDonald's and I asked, what's the effect? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? They said, well, our takeout is up from 70% to 92%, but our overall sales are 30% lower than we'd expect at this time.
And that's McDonald's.
That's McDonald's, and McDonald's is always busy.
But then there's other restaurants that I've talked to that said, we're only doing 20% of the business that we normally do, and we haven't paid the rent for 2 months, right?
Yep, depends on the business.
So I don't know what April, I expected to see a reduction when I pulled the March numbers, so I was really shocked when I saw this number.
Well, I mean, that's what worries me, is a lot of the people that have lost their jobs, which is upwards of about 1,000 people in the county. Is that about?
Less than that now.
Well, 900, 800, somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a substantial amount. It's, But a lot of these people have jobs at small businesses that are closed. And then most likely, a lot of them also rent because they're not making the kind of money maybe that they can afford a house. So, and then they're not paying the rent at the places for their job. It's just a cumulative.
It is.
And those are the people that we also have to think about as well. And then the people that own the rental properties that aren't receiving the rent. So it's kind of a snowball effect. I mean, I know we haven't been hit as hard as some areas, but we still have, we've been hit hard enough.
We have families that are struggling, and I will not disagree with that at all. What I'm trying to say is we've not been hit in the volume that some of these other areas.
Like Accomack County or somewhere like that where all meat processing.
Yeah, they're gonna have a problem here.
You know, if our revenue is based mostly on real estate, these people that have lost their jobs for the most part are not necessarily the real estate payers. The business owners probably are.
Or the owners, the rental property owners.
Yes.
I've got calls from quite a few people concerned about making the payments because the renters are no longer gainfully employed.
Yeah, but I guess, my point is that 800 is not necessarily the property tax paying group.
Well, we're assuming that. the
Of course.
people that have lost their jobs are not-
I mean, all of this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all the projections are just projections, and I think.
We're all looking for that really good dartboard. That's what your finance director said today in one of my emails. She was trying to do better than a dartboard.
Again, when you talk about the actual property owners, people who are renting the property owners can't make their mortgage payments. People that own rental property, it's an investment. And with that investment comes a certain amount of risk.
Well, and I don't know what I'll say about real estate property taxes, and then we'll, unless you want to continue talking about it, we'll move on, but that follows the property no matter who owns it. So if they don't pay it, and they have to sell it at some point, the taxes get paid. I
Well,
don't wish that on anybody, I'm just saying that's how it works. It doesn't go away on taxpayer A if taxpayer B buys it, taxpayer A gets less money.
I think to me, there is I'm sorry.
This is important.
There's a level of uncertainty out there for people. You know, just because we're starting to open up, that doesn't mean that there's going to be furloughs next year. People still have to be, I mean, people are gonna have to pay the property taxes, right?
Yeah, they do.
Period. So
That's what I'm saying, if they don't go away, whatever.
they don't have a
are.
choice. We have a choice on what we set the tax rate at and what we spend public dollars on, right? And quite frankly, what I offer to my other board members is, are you thinking the same way we were 2 to 3 months ago, right? Because 2 to 3 months ago, the economy was going fine. You know? And, yeah, maybe we could have justified the 6 cents or the 4 cents or the 2 cents. But are we still thinking the same way? That's the frank discussion I think we have to have, because, you know, to me, there's a level of government service that we have to provide. And there are certain things that we absolutely have to do to maintain that level of service, right? It's county government. There's other things that maybe we don't do them right now. Okay? Maybe we don't, maybe we only do a 2 cent. Maybe we don't do any cent. I want to know how your citizens, how your constituents, you know, how you would justify a tax rate increase. And if we as a board can collectively do that, I'm great, but that's why I would like to have that discussion. See where you're at.
And that's a very good point. I mean, it's where the rubber meets the road. And having been a board member coming out of the 2008-2009 recession and seeing how the board reacted then, they did nothing. I mean, they did nothing. There was no capital improvements. It was tighten your belt, don't do anything. Okay? And I saw how that worked out. it is my opinion that we look at this long-term, just like you look at an investing strategy. You look at it long-term, not what's happening in your portfolio today. And that is the philosophy that I'm trying to apply to the situation now.
Well, I know if we choose to go ahead with the proposed spending plan that we've discussed, we already know that the revenues will probably not fund all that spending. And if revenues are much less than what we're projecting, we could find ourselves in a financial crisis for our county and a need to raise taxes probably as soon as next year again. I mean, there's so much uncertainty. And what I've been thinking about, I thought, like, on the other hand, waiting a year to revisit the proposed spending plan so that we can be certain that revenues will recover will not only help us make a more informed decision. So that's what I would say. You know, there's two groups of people that I want to take care of this year. Those two groups of people are EMTs and our public safety. I think they should be a priority, regardless of what we can do. And today we've got the 2 cent, the 4 cent, and the 6 cent projections, right?
Yeah, I have some more stuff to show y'all going forward.
Because I would like to see for the board, what can we give back if we don't raise taxes? You know, if we don't equalize, or if we do equalize, excuse me. What do we get with the additional $545,000 if we don't equalize? Just so we can have those options in front of us to make a decision. Where does that get us?
I will tell you, I did not do that number. I did it based on that.
So the budget number is.
The budget number is not equalized.
Yeah, I get that. Just, at least for me, for the sake of discussion and speaking, and we can go back if you want to. I would say for the sake of discussion, we had the discussion without equalizing.
About what?
Had the discussions without equalizing. So without lowering the tax rate, but just maintaining it where it is now.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should go back and revisit that. I would hope that we could develop consensus that we're going to base our discussions on, we're going to collect the revenue based on the new assessments.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's where I would want to begin. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's where I didn't even go back to that. That would have been a little bit.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, so let me share some other information with you. So with COVID-19 hitting, the new minimum wage changes don't take effect until January 1st of 2021. So that's about another 6-7 months. I can't remember if it was May or maybe it was July 1. Anyway, so it's at least 6 more months out. So it gives everyone a little bit of savings. We don't have that many people that meet that criteria, but it is our convenience center workers for the most part. Along that line too, though, the ability for counties to tax at the same level as cities is extended to July 1st of 2021. So we're being able to do a cigarette tax or raise your meals tax by up to 6%. You don't have that ability until July 1 of 2021 as opposed to July of 2020. But the meals tax also changed to not require a referendum any longer. Just some information to kind of put in the back of your head while you're thinking all this through, because those will be available to you come July 2021.
So while minimum wage was built into the budget at a total cost of about $50,000, now that cost is only $25,000. But the other two and three, were not built into the budget. They were our hopefuls that were hanging out there to rescue us if we needed extra help. So they're not even in the budget.
All right, so I went through and pulled a bunch of the budget amendments. I did not do all 144. But to let you know what the governor did when he revised this budget. And he obviously adjusted his budget estimates. He cut any additional positions, pretty much any comp board positions, but general district court, public defenders, housing attorneys, we don't pay public defenders, but we have an office that services our locality. It's just, we don't really pay that out of our pocket. So what did change, but I didn't count on this, well, I didn't know that one was show up. Comp board is not funding any additional positions, no pay increases. They cut some technology, but I hadn't counted on that anyway, so it doesn't really affect their budget too much. I'm within $1,000 of what they finally approved Friday. The Department of Elections is not funding a salary increase for the registrar, but we didn't anticipate that increase anyway. I don't count on the state until they actually stamp it. Some things I thought you guys might want to know about was that, if you remember, for the holiday late payment, asked you all for support for a $250,000 improvement to the facility, and that got cut. We had lots of economic development stuff that, all of this is money he was adding to what he was already doing, so it's all this discretionary funding that he got rid of. Virginia Jobs Investment Program, the VATI grant, which is what we got for the broadband, they cut $16 million out of that they were gonna invest in that for this year. The Virginia Economic Development Program, they cut 12.5 out of business ready sites and 4.7 million out of custom workforce incentives in the following year. Education, they cut 185 million, no 3% for their standards of quality positions, but we are not expecting any additional requests from the school system. Last I heard, unless you forget.
Dr. Arnold has confirmed that. They're fine. They're fine with our.
So that 3%, that's the teacher's salary raise, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah, but I don't know what they're doing with it on their side, because all I was told
But
is.
the state's cutting their portion out.
Yes, for the positions that they fund, which are not, I don't know how many they fund versus how many the county is funding, but,
That would be your
did
teachers,
Dr.
that
Arnold
would
say
be the
he was
teachers,
removing
that would be your teachers.
He did not say. They were still looking at that.
yeah, I don't know what they're.
How they would make that happen.
They're probably still trying to make the 3% happen, but I don't know how they're doing it.
So that's my question. I mean, if they're still intending to pay the 3% raise, I just want to make sure that they're not taking 3% out of something else, and then that we would even come back and ask us to pay for like school buses or whatever.
Well, they said they're not going to come back and ask for it.
Okay, that's good.
You get that right.
I'll be fine.
So there was a 31.6 million cut to DSS funding. I talked to the director. She's still waiting on final allocations, but she doesn't anticipate any additional local funding needed. Even if they do the 1.5%, or she even told me they may do a bonus in December, but that would take a county ordinance to do that or something. So it's very up in the air for DSS right now, but she said she doesn't anticipate any extra local funding for that. There have been lots of cuts to the state parks, the Department of Environmental Quality, cultural arts, lots of cuts to financial aid for those different universities. I just didn't list them all. They did cut the pay increase for regional jail officers. I don't know that our contribution will change, but I've budgeted in an extra $75,000 anyway, just in case. So we shall see, but they did cut that out.
The jail has increased its federal beds, and it is negotiating with Pennsylvania for them to join.
So we may not.
So we may not see too much.
They were budgeted for like 1.4 and some change, and I put 1.5 in the budget just in case it changed. Are there any questions about the state budget changes? Because trust me, I didn't even 144 of them was a lot.
So here too, not that much effect on us.
No, it's just we just don't anticipate. We budget conservatively, so I personally do not anticipate additional state funds until I know we're getting them. I just don't want to put us out there and then have to take it back. So we're the Commonwealth Attorney was hoping for at least one more position, possibly two. And they were supposed to fund another in the clerk's office possibly, that was never added in. Just don't even count on it until it comes, because you just never know. So I wanted to update you guys on the unemployment. I'm trying to, I pull this down every Thursday. It is accessible by the public under the news and releases on the VEC website, but I am more than happy to get it and send it to you guys. I just want you to know it is out there. And way more stuff than I'm putting up here. So the biggest part of this is the highlighted yellow is us in the region.
It's our entire region, it's not just Amherst.
Right, this is our, this is
Central
the
Virginia.
state, this is the Central Virginia region. This is the Region 2000 area for the whole state. So the big gray one that's 26%, the orange, the blue at the bottom, that's those three localities I told you all about. Northern Virginia, Capital, and Hampton Roads. But this region is 3%, and that's it. And we are 11% of that 3% as of last week. Changes every day. So here were the claims, initial claims. Sorry, I tried everything I could, but 9 is so small it doesn't show up as far. We're the blue, the region is the orange. The initial claims are decreasing, ours are decreasing.
Can you go back to that?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So March 21st, there was 122 claims. March 28th, there was 322.
Mhm.
Is that 322 new?
Those are all
addition?
initial new claims. So I'll get to the continued claims in just a minute.
Thank you.
Right there. So that's the region's continued claims. And we have 11% of them. The number was 910 for the April 25th listing.
Did you say you're gonna have new numbers today?
No, Thursday.
Thursday.
So 900.
910.
Yeah, they keep adding more information as people start asking them for more things, because they didn't originally collect the data on the continued claims, so I don't have as many weeks of that. But I do have this week's, and so this was just a map they had out there, so you can kind of see where we fell. There's a whole lot of people with 1,000 or less. There's 3 or 4 with the bright red at over 9,000, 6,000.
Yeah, but those localities have hundreds of thousands.
Right, so Fairfax has over 500,000 people just in Fairfax.
And Fairfax County has like 1.8 million people.
Yeah, they're the only place in the state of Virginia that directly qualifies for federal FEMA funding. It's the only locality by itself, because you have to have over 500,000 population in order to get the direct funding. That's why we have to wait for the state, which I'm doing that next week. So here you go. Total initial claims for Amherst to date are 1,439, and continued claims is 910.
Explain that.
So you may have had someone that filed and got furloughed for a couple weeks, and they claimed for the first couple weeks, but now they're not claiming anymore because they've gone back to work or they're working in that. I know someone who works 1 week on, 1 week off. But these are the continued number of claims throughout the 6 weeks. At the end of April 25th, these are the ones that had been on unemployment more than 1 week. Or this was their initial week.
So the measure of recovery will be to watch these continued claims drop. Those are the people that are dropping off of unemployment.
Are these all full-time jobs or some of these part-time jobs?
They could be part-time.
Okay.
Because, so for unemployment now, So if, for the people, and I've actually offered to help, Victoria has told me there's some people that had trouble getting their unemployment. So I've offered my services to help them answer the questions the right way. Sometimes you have to, you just you don't know which way to answer it, and it kicks you to deny. But the way the process works now, after the Pandemic Unemployment Act was passed, they have to apply for regular unemployment, and if they get denied, they have to then go into the Pandemic Act and apply. If they're given unemployment, they automatically get that $600 added on to their unemployment benefits. But it is, I know you can get it for being a gig person, so a sole proprietor that just does this job or that job. Any sole proprietor can get it. The hairdressers, they should be able to get it. I'm aware that some have not been able to, so that's why I said I've offered. I found that out yesterday. But even part-time, even people that have had reduced workload can receive partial benefits. So either they're not answering the questions right, or we just have people that haven't applied. I don't know. But I do know there are some that are struggling, especially some of our sole proprietors. So I have offered to help them get through that process if they need help. Now, okay. So with our new revenues, and I left all the spending as it was before. This is what 2 cents would look like, and you won't make it through 2024. With the spending where it is, with all the market adjustment and everything that we have in there. You'll still not have a lot of money left over for the future, and your general fund will not make it till the end.
So our expenses being full market, sheriff's department.
We haven't changed that.
I haven't changed any of
What
that.
about capital improvements?
Well, those are one-time expenses.
That's represented by the yellow line. Okay, as we continue to spend the things in the capital plan out for 5-6 years, that's what's drawing that yellow line down.
So anything above the cut lines are included.
Yeah.
Yes, the cut
Correct.
lines that you agreed to, that's right.
So then we have the 4 cent. That will get you almost to 2026. But not quite.
Which is where the cigarette tax could help.
Yeah.
The meals tax.
Meals tax, the meals tax right now,
Unless you're in the school that wants all of that devoted to the capital.
or something.
Okay, because this is operating expenses, this is O&M.
Right.
This is recurring revenue and what's happening with the money going in and going out each year, not the one-time expenditures from the capital fund. So this is the recurring money, the other chart is the one-time money.
Refresh my memory, the 40K was what? What does it mean?
40,000 starting for the public
Okay,
safety and
okay,
sheriff's.
thank you.
The full market refers to the 34 employees who are below market average.
Gotcha.
So with the 4 cent, you won't run out of general fund. You'll have a little bit more of the future fund, not quite 2 million. And of course, 6 cent gets you past 2026. Leaves you plenty of money in your general fund and over 2 million in your future fund. It would leave you in a really good place at a different point in time. I guess. This would be ideal, and I understand what Mr. Martin said, but this one is the 4 cent gets you there. So you're not depleting the general fund below its reserve.
But you're left with no money in 2027 Well, you have 2 million, almost 2 million, so that'll get you maybe 1 year. So this could get you through 2027, because we need to fix our ability to save for the future. This is what we have not fixed yet.
And that's
We,
my
future.
I think we should consider looking at some of this capital spending this year as well. I would like to consider.
What,
looking
moving the cut line?
Yes.
Is that what you mean? Well, you're welcome to do that. It's not cast in stone yet.
I thought it was gonna take us at least 3 cents for all the pay increases.
Well, that's what it was in an earlier iteration of the numbers.
Oh, it's still, I mean, your 2 cent doesn't quite get you there. The revenues are under the red line for 2021. You don't get there with 2.
So this may be unpopular, but in some other localities, the one that I work in actually, when they did market adjustments, they actually did it over a 2-year period. They didn't do it all at once. And actually, the ones that were slated to get it this year aren't getting it. So an option is to break it up.
How do they decide who gets it and who didn't?
It's a good question. I'm not saying it's fair, but I know there's a whole group of people that's not getting it now.
Can I throw something out to you too, just to make you aware? I want you to remember, and I can bring it up if you'd like. You have a lot of supplemental recurring items. 2 of those are positions.
I think we should eliminate adding those positions this year.
Well, I'm just saying you've got a lot of recurring money, and if you want to see the list, there's personnel in there as well. And then we also have, so Mr. Martin, in asking you, let me ask you this. Are you suggesting splitting the market adjustment for the public safety and the sheriff's department?
No, I'm suggesting we consider doing public safety and law enforcement 1 year, and then the rest of the county employees the next year. As an option.
Okay, I wanted to split those numbers up for you, so you know.
That'd be great.
That's all I wanted.
And the other thing, I mean, the way I see it is if we do nothing, right, we've got, scroll back to it. We'll have $42,273, $42,273,102, right? To spend next year in our budget. That's based on your new projection, the COVID-19 new projection. That's with no tax increase. All right?
Yes, but that makes us negative about $800,000.
Correct. We are negative $800,000, and that's what I want us to get. Are we willing to cut $807,000 from somewhere? Because if we're not, then we might as well skip that part of the discussion and move on to the 2 cent discussion.
There needs to be a recurring cost.
Well,
But
Unless you want to draw
a certain amount goes into the capital projects each year, right?
no.
No,
Or is it just what's left over?
That's what's
yeah,
left
that's
over.
why we need to fix that.
So let me throw this, so you know what, everything that's recurring that's in the larger pieces. We have the 3%. We have the market adjustment. We have the recurring for the supplemental requests. All of those were new items, not operating expenses. And that comes to 1 point.
That's recurring expenses. See, I think they should be suspended at this point in time. I would
Well,
eliminate the new positions. That would be eliminate all new hiring at this point in time.
I could.
There's not any new hiring, we haven't staffed. I mean, sheriff's department is down, like,
No, there's the new position that we added for the clerk.
There's new one in social services. There's a few new
well,
positions.
are you talking about last year or the,
Can you call up the?
Which one?
The two budgets. The supplemental, call the supplemental with the cut line.
hang on, let me make a move. I gotta get that one off this one.
I could entertain the idea of cutting new positions. I could do that. However, I got a hard time with picking and choosing winners and losers in our employees. I can't say that an EMT is more important than a sheriff, or a sheriff is more important than an aide. I can't do that. The county employee is less important than somebody else.
Okay, so the people you're talking about cutting is the position to help Joni Tables in CSA and Susan May's assistant.
Right.
Those are the two new positions.
Your other recurring stuff is your mini grant program, Microsoft Outlook, health insurance and covert administration, Comcast Wi-Fi, Commissioner Revenue part-time staff, and the performance management.
Those are rather small numbers.
Yeah, they're the smaller numbers, but the majority of it is those two positions.
They're not gonna help with $700,000-800,000.
Well, if you talk about 2 cent, it's not that much. The 800 is if we don't do any new taxes.
But the 2 cent then requires you within the next 2 years.
We don't have enough money after
Our
next year.
expenses are not covered again.
Well, that's fine. Then we deal with it at that point in time. That's what we do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a strategy. I mean, you could raise, like you do the water rates. You raise it, 1 penny a year.
We have an annual,
Used to that.
we have an annual budget. That's why we come together every year to do this.
Or you can take a long-term view and say, look, we don't want to be the county that's always raising taxes. We'll just do it all at once now and we'll plan for the future.
That's what concerns me. It's concerned me since I've been on this board, and I'm seeing it again now, is the first thing that goes is our look to the future and how we plan for the future.
Well, nobody planned for COVID-19.
That's
right either.
right,
Yeah.
nobody planned for 2008, 2009 recession either. But, you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do.
The question, sometimes you gotta look and see what the question is. Who do we represent here sitting at this table? Do you represent the people or do you represent the government? Or maybe you feel like you represent both. But, I'm here because I represent the people. And a lot of people are going through a hard time right now. We're $700,000 in the hole right now as we speak, and that could change on a daily basis, given on what happens. And if we don't decide to cut some things and try to look, we can't look ahead because we don't know what's going to happen. But we got to make a decision what's best for the people. And I don't see how you can't look at this and see we're in trouble. And if we don't par some of this spending and cut it back a little bit, I don't think we're doing our job.
I'd like to suggest that while you do represent the people, you five are the government. And so you five have to make it work. And you have to make sure that we don't run out of money in the future. And I keep saying that my biggest concern is we are going to run out of money in 3 years because we're not setting money aside for the future. So we'll be back in 2 years or 3 years, but we'll have the same problem again. Only we'll have less of a buffer. We will have spent, we've got 3 years worth of capital budget left. So if we come back in 3 years to raise taxes, we'll be coming back, to keep the O&M budget going, but then there's no money for capital either. And so you'll need even more money.
Well, maybe it's time to look at some of the capital that
Well,
we're spending this year.
I'm wondering after, hang on.
We can take a look at it and see if there's anything.
All right.
When this is over with, and it will be over with, it's like anything, it's like anything else, it will be over with. And then you look around and you say, okay, all right, Amherst, what do you look like now? What are you gonna do? What, back to the same thing. What do we do to attract businesses? And if there's nothing left here, we haven't taken care of what we've got. I don't know why anybody would want to come here. But that's been a concern I've had since I joined the board. We've got to take care of our buildings. We've got to take care of this county. We've got to leave this county better than what this board found it.
Sorry.
And in my opinion, postponing it by 1 year is not gonna be a huge detriment, and we don't know at this time uncertainty,
And and I don't disagree with you on that at all, but what I do know is that if this board raises taxes 6 cents, that increases, we saw that increases people's tax bills by what, almost $200,000, $150, whatever it is.
A year, it's like $12.75 a month.
Whatever it is. I know that at the end of the year, you're expected to pay those taxes, whether you have it or not. Whether you want to buy the kids Christmas or birthday or whatever, you're going to pay those taxes. And us 5 up here is making that determination of how much we're going to make our citizens spend. So, if we agree to do that, great. But I think we need to have these very hard discussions on if it's an appropriate time to do it right now.
Okay, another idea for you. One of the things built into this budget is for all employees, is the 3% cost of living increase. How about delaying that until December or 1 January, 6 months?
How much does that go? I mean, do you know what those numbers
You have that number?
Roughly $200,000.
Almost a penny.
Now you're saying.
So,
I wanna see if we can salvage the market real fast.
you can still give everybody their 40,000 start, public safety and the sheriff. You can still correct the 34 that we don't want to lose. That are being offered jobs elsewhere. And then the other big piece was the 3% for everybody. We'll hold that back.
Let me pull up something.
Let's assume that we're not buying a used car here. If y'all got any other things, ideas, let's get them out here now. So we're not having to pull them out.
That's the last one.
If you've got anything else, let's hear them now.
Well,
Wait, let me look at something. So with a 2 cent increase and no cost of living, we're at 159 negative.
that's within our regular flex.
Well, I have to find it somewhere, so.
That's a 2 cent increase. So
Let me share this with you. How far it goes? So at a 2 cent increase with delay in the cost of living a year, let's just say a year, and we wouldn't put it in place at the end of December unless we knew the revenues had changed. The projections had changed. Then we could adjust then. But let's say you're putting that off for a whole year. And we're still 159 negative. Not saying I can't find it, it's just, that's where we are right now. I did run it with just taking the cost of living out, and it gets you to, I'll look at all my.
This is a 2 cent increase and withholding the 3% cost of living for 1 year.
You won't make it to 2025. I have you positive until 2024. and then you go negative in 2025, with a 2-cent increase and no cost of living in the first year. But I've added it back in to the other years. It's still there for the other years.
Stacy, can we go back to the capital expense?
The CIP one? Yeah, hang on, let's see. There we go. So
Board
that's,
members, I would suggest that we look at this. I mean, we've been told the crisis that we're in right now, we're looking at within a year, we should be out of it. And I think our citizens would understand, if we made a decision here today within the next couple of weeks, that what expenses we're doing this time is not what may happen 12 months. We're going to have to revisit this. But I think we are in, or should find us, or feel the position that we're in. It is, as Mr. Pugh and several have said, it is a time of uncertainty for us, which makes it quite difficult on this 5-member body to make decisions to project us into the future, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, or 6 years, whatever it is. I think we need to start in looking at this. What, for the next 12 months, can we live without? And we need to start striking. We need to start striking things that we cannot, that we can make through the next 12 months and make it very clear through the media sources and whatever is why we're doing what we're doing is because of the situation we find ourselves in. Now, our people, I agree, we need to look at those, these raises. The people are our government. But these material things that we can go without for the next 12 months, people need to understand we've got to come back and look at it next year at tax time and try to reevaluate and hopefully not find ourselves in the situation that we're currently in. But if we can avoid anything as far as tax increase right now for our people, our community, in the situation that we find ourselves in, I think we need to do it. But I agree, we need to look out for our staff and we need to do as much as we can for them. But things that we can live without for the next 12 months, we need to live without. That is my feeling. And we need to start on this list right now and start striking things that we can live without for the next 12 months. And we will have to come back and revisit it. People need to understand that because of the situation we find ourselves in right now. And that's my feeling. I mean, we can sit here back and forth what each person feels like they want, they whatever. Our people are important, our staff is important, because that is our government, is those that serve mankind, regardless of where they fall on the spectrum of service. We need to keep that in mind. But these material things that we can live without for the next 12 months, we need to start striking and then look and see where we are. That's my feeling. And I'm only one of 5.
So it's 5 things on the list. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4.
For next year.
but we would just push them out and adjust it.
Now that, of course, is a message to send, because these are one-time expenses. They don't affect the O&M budget that we're trying to deal with.
But you're saving.
But you are saving
You're
money.
saving.
You're making.
We have to save wherever we can save right now.
Right.
We have got to do that.
And the capital fund lasts longer because we've delayed everything.
Cut off 5 is $1.7 million. Sam?
I mean, I think as far as the equipment for our
Number 2.
public safety, I don't know whether that would be wise as far as a medic unit and fire apparatus.
Well, I would agree with you, Jimmy, but who's right and who's wrong? You know, what's important, what's not important? If the message is we're just gonna put it off for a year, can public safety live without a unit replacement for 1 year? I don't want them to. But hey, if that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do.
Do we close the trail
Trail
bridge
bridge.
from Personal Island because it's
Close
now a
it.
tripping hazard, so the people from Lynchburg can't use the.
Too bad you said.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's already.
I think we're the ones that have to make the decision if we want to trust company. So I would hope that,
Hey, have you contacted them?
you know, we would agree that the replacing the medic unit is, I'll just tell you what would be important. Medic unit,
Or you might not have to.
the Nelson truck replacement refurb, which they have told us multiple times, they're just gonna refurbish it, so it's not gonna take a whole $425,000. Hopefully by now, Sam, they've given us the estimate on refurbishing it.
Haven't seen it yet.
Well, they should, because the truck's been up there for Lord knows how long, right? So
So that's coming down, it's not gonna be 420.
No, sir.
It should
All
come
right,
down.
I'm
And
good
then-
with those two things.
And then I think we should fix the trail. Those are have to do's. The other items are debatable.
And I'm good with that.
I'm fine with that.
Trail creates risk. If people get on it, make a difference how you close it. What you do to try to close it, people will still do that. So that's.
Let's say it was 2,358. 7.
Claudia, that's gonna be a significant reduction in that refurb. It's a significant reduction. I can probably make a phone call and find out, but we'll have 100 grand.
Hey, Jimmy,
So is
there's
there
one thing we haven't discussed, that is the
But you then we
recommendation.
haven't saved as much, right?
Yes, if that would, if you spend 150,000 versus 425, that's quite a savings.
So I'm saying,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
One thing that would involve the ESC, Jimmy, since you come to those meetings and Tom was on there, I'm gonna make a recommendation in July that the volunteer rescue squads roll under public safety. There's 4 ambulances sitting there. There's 2 in Amherst and there's 2 at Manals. So there is a chance, depending on how nice people play and what their articles of dissolution say in Amherst, I feel pretty good that I get ambulance at it. So there's a good possibility you might save 258,000. But I was gonna put $1,000 in for half of that. So that's something there that I've been working on with Charlie real close.
I mean,
So I
but we
can't-
could leave it there, Sam, and if you come up with alternative plans and that could be reduced, that creates that savings, but
There's a truck across the street's got 7,000 miles, on it, and I'm hoping to do it. But I don't have it yet. I'll know more once I make a recommendation to you guys and girls, and you get to, you get to, you get to come back to that.
I mean, I'm good with that.
So regardless, if we push it out 1 year, we still gotta figure out the tax increase piece.
Well,
Because this
this
doesn't apply.
doesn't affect it. This doesn't affect it at all.
Well, under the supplemental, we need to go ahead and pull out those, eliminate those positions and look at the supplemental next.
Fully supplemental.
I agree.
Okay, but before.
Well, let's just make sure we agree on that.
Let's get on the screen here and let's work this
Tell me
thing
what
out.
you want to do here, because I'm gonna have to rework this for your Monday night meeting next week.
You're pulling Bright, you're pulling the master plan,
Pushing them over a year.
yep, and then you're taking that Monellis and tanker truck, once you get the estimate and reducing that down to whatever that refers.
Am I gonna have that for next week?
I'm gonna ask for it.
Okay,
So that leaves us 3 things that were funded, and the rest of them get pushed out here.
which will change that yellow line on those graphs, because they'll
Right.
push that line out further and it'll stay up longer, so. Okay, let me,
And the trail bridge repair stays?
Yes.
sir.
Okay.
move right, move master plan. And then get estimate from Sam.
And
Or
I guess
Money
if-
Lawson.
if Sam is able to obtain an answer about what he just spoke of, we can even, the 258,000.
So what I do with the CIP and the supplementals, I put them in lump sum. And when the projects actually happen, we transfer them to the part. So we can see what we save each year if projects come in less than anticipated. I just like to kind of know if we save some money. So I kind of started doing that way, so it's easier. So I will do those to this worksheet and we'll come back and I'll have new graphs and stuff with new numbers.
That'll change our yellow line.
It'll change the yellow line and, all right, so,
Now look
Can
at,
I just ask this, I know it'll probably make your head explode as an accountant, finance, okay?
no,
This is not, this CIP money is not bond funded, right? It's
Correct.
just savings that you have.
yes.
So theoretically, you could infuse the operating budget with a certain portion of it, right?
no.
Yes, you can, and that's really poor accounting. That's
I
basically
know
taking
that-
from your
that's why I
savings
said that.
to pay your monthly
It's
mortgage.
against their fund balance policy.
No, is it written in there now? When I first got here, that's what we
You
did.
would be violating your own policy if you did that.
Yeah,
Only
those are the safety valves that we put in place
Yeah.
so that we didn't do that.
Yeah.
So if you would have to do that, it's because you ran out of money.
Okay.
to dip into that general fund and infuse into the operating is because you went negative.
Technically, 15% of that is emergency funds.
Yes, it's about
You
$7
know,
million.
and I don't know how much further along, but you're getting close to that.
You know, our objective is to do the opposite, is take recurring money and throw it into savings.
I just thought of it.
What are you
Cause
talking about now?
otherwise, we're looking for $800,000.
Right.
Still.
Well, so I was working on the 2-cent version. Cause I don't even know. Cause I didn't run it on the, without any kind of increase at all. So I'll need to put that one in there as another option to show where it's gonna go.
I'm not following what you're talking
Well, I haven't done any of my graphs or projections based on the base of no tax increase at all.
about. That's true.
I've assumed at least a 2
Well, now we
cent,
can do
because I
that
knew
because
we were
pulled this
negative.
out.
Well, we're still negative at 2 cents.
So where would we cut?
Well, let's go to the supplemental.
Let me go to the supplemental.
Well, you do away with 3%, it gets you to, it was 156,000 with the,
2 cents
and
increase
doing away with the 3% increase would get you 159,000 in the hole.
with a 2 cent increase.
Yeah.
Yes, you're getting close with a 2 cent increase. So then here's your supplemental recurring items. They come to 146,628, I believe. I think I've memorized that number. I've typed it so many times.
You know, I mean, I think we have to eliminate the top two, I mean, obviously, at this point in time.
Would it be fair to have that discussion and have the people that are in need of those positions here at Monday night's meeting? To give
I
them
mean,
an
it's not gonna
opportunity to
change my
talk?
opinion on
It's
what.
not, no, it's,
Okay, I
Okay.
don't want to feel like I threw somebody under
I mean, a lot of this,
No, we're not.
the.
We fought, we lost.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that that's personnel money as well, so it takes recurring money. And
All
so
right,
do
we
the other
started
items
those two
below.
positions at the top.
It's $92,000 of the 159.
All right, the mini grant, is that what's feeling of the board on that? 15,000.
well, I can't remember what that was.
That's beautification.
We're
So,
trying to get
put
that over.
$1,000.
Oh, yes, they can never look nice.
Make it look nice. That's the entrance corridors. Right. Microsoft Outlook, we're trying to get away from Lotus Notes and its storage burden and ease of use and connectivity to everything else we do. Health insurance and COBRA administration is hard to do without outside help.
But can we do it without it for a year?
You could,
I would have to take it back over. My biggest concern, which I would have to talk to the consultant about, is they hold the license for our electronic software. And I don't know what the cost would be for us to try to buy that license for ourselves, or if we even could. I would have to do some research, which I can do tomorrow.
So we have somebody administering it now?
It's part of our consulting.
Comcast Wi-Fi, that's for public Wi-Fi in this room, so that people can use their laptops and cell phones without connecting through the county system.
That's $2,400 and $1,500.
For a
Those
year.
two are very minimum.
Yeah.
I read the performance management system, can we go a year without that?
Yes.
The Microsoft Outlook, would we be good with a year, going another year on Lotus?
The storage problem just got fixed. I went from 95% down to 20%, so
So we'd
I
be
could buy
good,
a year from that.
we'd be good for a year?
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so that
So the
that
two
leaves the mini
positions,
grant. Everything else, it seems to be like, leaves mini grant, health insurance, and Comcast Wi-Fi. Commissioner revenue part-time staff, that's just part-time hours.
I mean, those two are minimal. I mean,
she really needs a little bit there.
I mean, it's $1,500. It's,
Just because everybody's so leanly staffed that when she gets busy and people are in out emergencies or whatever, she doesn't have any staff. That was what I was told. Relaying the same information.
all right, if we do that and take the 3%, what,
I mean, did we, where did we land on the two top positions?
they're out.
They're out. Okay.
the mini grant stays, Outlook goes, the health insurance stays,
States, right.
Comcast stays, and the other two go.
Part-time staff?
You mean part-time staff
Stays.
stays?
Stays.
43 stays.
So you want to keep that at
$1,500.
fine. So the projects above that, these are one-time.
Okay,
They're on the bottom of the CIP, aren't they?
no. So I split your stuff into recurring and into one-time stuff on this particular sheet. Hang on a minute, let me. You got them? Okay.
So these are one-time expenses.
These are the one-timers that you approved for next year. File server, stretcher replacement, HVAC for public safety, fire alarm for the Madison Heights Library, and if you don't remember, they only have like the one little pull handle, is that correct?
Right.
Well, if they're saving so much money at the landfill, can't they pay for their own HVAC?
That's public safety. Oh, the landfill?
Mhm.
That's possible, yes, that's possible. I can probably pull it out of there. I don't really identify where the funding is coming from as much on this one, but I can definitely
The
probably.
difference though is the savings is in recurring money, and this is a one-time
Yeah.
expense. So, but yeah, it could be paid for that way. But, you know, you can see, we try to keep them separate because the recurring money.
But
is
it
so
helps us get
valuable.
through this 12-month period of uncertainty. That's what we're trying to, and next year, hopefully we'll be on more firm ground, know where, how we're going. I mean, we didn't anticipate this when we started the budget process of being paid for what we are, but.
You have the file server, right? Okay, that's what I need to know.
Yeah.
Jackie says that can't
What's
wait.
critical?
I'm pretty sure the stretcher's critical.
I mean, technically, if the landfill is saving 133, we only need to figure out $20,000.
Okay, so.
But see, we're already
Let me
getting
explain
like
about
what we
that.
said we were gonna do in the motion, which was put it back to the,
We can't depend on, that's uncertain.
I
That
was
is,
joking about it, but.
that's anticipated savings.
Mhm.
So if it was saved, let me explain a
it.
little bit about what happens with closure at the landfill.
I'm good.
Okay, every year it goes up, that's my thing, it keeps going up because it's based on what is there,
I
what is
think,
filled.
I'd like to see us put off that $47,000 fire alarm with the library.
Where's
What
our,
about your
where's our
public
fire
safety
department?
vehicle?
Where is it?
You have a public safety
Yeah,
vehicle,
yeah.
that's the Explorer, right?
The Explorer is old and, I mean, I don't trust it for emergency response.
Okay.
It's came from the sheriff's office and went out. It did.
What about the fire alarm at the library?
We got a lot of fire alarm, but it's books, and it depends on when people are in there. And I'll never put it out. It's on fire. I mean,
That's how fast you respond.
Well, once that fire alarm goes off, then all the books are wet and gone. But you give people time to get out.
Our library has pretty good egress for people, but if there was to be a fire, I mean, Sam will tell you how fast it grows. if
every
it's not
47
fire.
seconds, you got a big fire, but I'm not gonna put that out with the water we have there. I mean,
sprinkler system in that library?
No.
I don't wanna guess at it.
I think so.
I don't think
It's
so.
old, I doubt it. I don't know. I mean, you're talking about a year.
Put it
We've
off
had
a year.
We've not had it for a long time.
It's never happened.
Are there fire extinguishers in the building?
Okay, putting these off, what does that get us?
Which ones are we putting off now?
If we put off these one-time projects.
Get you more money in your savings account.
Right, but that's
It's not helping the other
what
side.
we need right now.
It's not helping the other side.
$89,000, right?
But we need it on the operating side. That's the thing, you can't put it in the other bucket, it's gotta be on the operating side.
That's right, so this is, I'm fine with postponing, I'm almost at the point of saying, these things that we just said, let's hit pause.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And
They're not
then
helping what.
let's wait 6 months, let's not go out July 1 and start buying this and that, let's just hit pause and save for a while, right? Well, we really need to figure out the operating. 800, you said 800,000,
Okay, so
what's that?
800-ish, and I'd have to go back and actually run it because I have not run any of my projections based on no tax increase at all. So at 2-cent tax increase, taking out the cost of living, you're let's just round off to $160,000 in the hole still. If you're taking these recurring things out, you're now $53,000 in the hole. I don't know where I can find that, but I can look.
Or how much in the hole?
53,000,
If you take all the recurring things out that we just said.
yes, and the cost of living increase, and you do a 2-cent tax increase.
Still 2 cents.
Now, if you want me to go back and rework it based on no tax increase and these ideas, I'm guessing you're still gonna come up about 400,000 in the hole.
Stacy, is that not count equalizing?
No, that counts equalize. Yeah, you're not gonna equalize.
So you're gonna get the additional revenue.
Yeah, I'm already counting that in as my base. It's just, we had always talked about with our operations needing an increase no matter what. So I did not run it based on the base, but I can do one on that. But I can, in my mind, I can tell you it's probably close to $400,000 still in the hole if you don't do any tax increase.
So here's a question for you. When the department submitted their budget request to you, were there any budget instructions of saying, hey, you need to submit a 5% reduction, or?
They're always told to submit bare bones.
I understand that. But
No,
have you
we
told
have
them
not
to
asked them
stop?
to go back and reduce their budgets at all.
So I think a very healthy discussion for the departments might be, okay, you understand that the board's sitting up here, talking about having to cut your 3% cost of living raise. Where are there portions in your budget you might be able to cut for us so we don't have to do that? Because we're gonna have to use a meat cleaver, right? While we're up here, maybe they can go back and find some places they can cut. But it doesn't sound like they've been asked to do that.
No, they were not asked to do that. They were just asked to unlock the doors and turn on the lights for a year, doing nothing extra. And of course, what we did is we looked at we took their numbers, but we looked at the historical numbers and said, look, this is too high. You've never used that much money. Or this is too low. It's obvious you're running at this rate. And that's what we did. So our numbers that we presented are based on historic trend, whatever it was. But we did not ask them to say, okay, now tighten your belt.
Didn't we do that for up until 3 years ago? They had to cut everything they could possibly cut. And it really got down to just turn lights on.
Well, that's.
Then we took from there and did historical, right?
Well,
No, we didn't do it that
paying
way.
very much.
What
They
we
weren't
did when I got here was that we broke out everything as supplemental. The supplemental is how we took out all the extra. If somebody wanted an Outlook program, or somebody wanted a new graph table or something, they would just sort of build that into their budget. And then that money, they'd buy the table, and then it would stay there year after year. And so they were told, pull all of that out. If you want, just turn on the lights and unlock the doors. Do nothing. If you want something extra, it's got to be in this list of extra things. So that's how we did that. I understand in the past, especially during the Great Recession, some of my predecessors were asked to give everybody a 10%, or reduced by 10%. I don't know how that was before my time.
That's something we want to ask, let the department heads know we're trying to preserve the pay increases for everybody, but they got to do their part and go back and create some reductions. So let's know to do that.
We just sat here and said, okay, even with the 2% tax increase.
2 cents.
2 cent tax increase, we're gonna have to do away with 3% cost of living raise
In the first year.
in the first year, and we're still short.
53,000.
Right?
And cut the new positions.
Got it all, so. I
I'm
mean,
not
I want
gonna
to
ask.
say, guys, you know, we want to give you the raises. Okay?
We're gonna have some help.
But we also have citizens to represent that are having hard times. They're gonna have a hard time paying the higher tax rate too.
So the goal is to find an additional, what, $60,000 in cuts? From the bare bones
Unless
budget.
you're trying to, okay, let me understand. Are we analyzing this on the no tax increase at all, and not equalizing? And possibly the 2 cent? The 4 cent and the 6 cent are off the table.
You know, guys, I would.
So I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this to the staff as far as the 3%, because that still leaves the 3% out.
You have not shown me anything tonight that we could not raise taxes without cutting positions. I mean, what else could we do besides either not give the raises or cut people? I don't think we're willing to do any of those, and I think we're almost out of at least 2%. Am I wrong?
No, you're right, because it's been 6 years since there was an operational increase
So, you
in
know,
taxes.
I would say departments, go back, see where you can cut. You know what, and if you could cut some things, maybe instead of getting no 3%, maybe at least get a 1% this year.
But that's what I'm-
1.5%.
Yeah, but the 4 to 6 cent, in my opinion, are off.
That's why I just don't want to keep doing those if they're off the
No, they're off,
table.
as far as I'm concerned, they're off the table.
So it's 2 cents or no cents.
Correct.
And we
Okay.
need to see where we can cut more.
So what's the goal? How much are we asking them to cut? How much does each department need to be
I
asked
think
to
that's what
cut?
we need, we need to come up with a percentage and everybody's got to work to achieve.
Well, I understand that, Jimmy, but what I'm saying is you can't just say, oh, cut as much as you can. Because then they don't, that's a target. Just say, do they need to cut 15%? Or they need to cut their
Oh,
budget?
no. I mean, 1% of our $42 million budget.
Well, then you're gonna cut the schools.
Well, okay. Our portion.
On the county side, what are we
You can
looking at?
figure that number out and then send a memo out to the
Well, that's
state.
what I need to figure out is how much it's gonna take that we can shoot at, because I can tell you there's some departments that are extremely lean.
Right.
Like, I mean, 90% of their budget is personnel already. They just don't have a lot of operating expenses, and they're not gonna have the same 5% to get rid of as, they can't cut the telecommunications line because of the phone lines.
You know, the easy things to cut are training budgets, travel budgets,
Which at this point in time, travel is out of the question.
well, no, but it will be back
We're
on the
still
table.
doing some online
This
training,
point,
because,
you
I
know,
mean,
This is a temporary
I can
situation.
tell you what they did at our budget. Supplies were gone, training and travel were gone, all right? Just right off the bat, gone. You don't have a pen? Oh, what? You know, and it's like that for next year too. It's gone. So, and we're not getting a 3% increase next year. We were, but we're not, all right? So, see where, let the department heads go back and see if there's places that they can find themselves.
Okay.
You'll do.
So we're leaving the supplemental budget as is, but do you still want to include it in the budget? Like, as far as part of your appropriation of your budget, or do you want to hold these out and do them at a later time?
I think what we just, this is me, guys, I think what the discussion we had on the capital and
Supplemental.
yeah, it was a supplemental.
And the recurring supplemental.
Yeah, at least on the, let's talk about the capital. I think what we did on that was very helpful. And I think, you know, I would even be fine with leaving it, and I've said this before, leaving it like it is, but hitting pause on those other items for at least 6 months. Before you spend the money, you come back to us and say, hey, this is where we are financially, yeah, I think we can do it.
So I'd like to suggest we leave those out of the appropriation, because they've been included in the
Okay, and then we have
appropriation.
to appropriate.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
have
I
to come
agree.
back and appropriate, but that affects my worksheet.
That's fine.
That's what I'm trying to,
Well, yeah, that affects your graphs.
well, yes, because if you're not,
It affects everything.
yeah, so I need to fix all those, I just need to make sure I understand. Are you hitting pause on the CIP as well?
Not all of it.
No, we have,
No, we
these are
just,
the
we
ones
told
that
you
want
what,
to go forward.
yeah, we already
With
got
some
that.
adjustments.
Three things to move forward with on that.
But you want to go ahead and appropriate that money?
Correct.
And then-
I'm making sure I understand.
The reoccurring, we've already went through that list and told you what we wanted to get.
Yeah, I got that here.
Did not.
Mhm.
And so I'll
We'll
fix
go with
that
those.
and I'll adjust the numbers and work up two more. I will not have those ready for you to publish tomorrow.
No, but we need them by the next workshop.
Well,
I mean, I
I know.
gotta have time to get to the staff and get their input and then sit down with them and go through their
Well,
suggestions.
I gotta look at that tomorrow morning.
I think
So,
Mr. Martin gave a pretty good suggestion tonight of some of the stuff that he's seen.
Sure, yeah. And there are
Well, we
other
do
lines that
cut
I'm,
those things, but I mean, I think people will cut those things, but I think it needs to be.
Madam Chair, did you want to give a percentage? I know you made that statement, but give the department heads a goal to work toward. Now, I know there's some of the smaller departments that absolutely cannot meet probably get the goal that is, if we arrive at a goal here tonight, and they just need to submit a letter that they don't have that.
I think Stacy.
Y'all asked
We're
me to
not-
calculate that, right?
Yeah.
And then come back and
Yeah,
tell
so,
me what the
and
percentage was.
I just didn't want to make this blanket statement, go cut your budget, and then not even know what they're aiming for.
No. What some other localities do is budget message comes out and says, cut 5%. Okay? And if that means you would have to cut a staff person, that's the only thing you have to submit, fine. Now, when it gets to the county administrator, he might choose not to accept that, right? We're not out to cut staff, right? But at least they have the exercise. Now, if there's other bigger budget departments out there that can cut 5%, you found cost.
and then what I'm looking for in the big departments is more savings so that they can help the smaller departments. Yeah.
Theoretically.
Okay, well, I will look at that first thing in the morning and get that out.
So your new graphs will include the 3% cost of living, because ultimately, as a department head, what I'm gonna be doing is fighting my budget so that I get a raise.
I'll do it both ways.
Okay.
I'll do it both ways, with or without. If for some reason they don't come back with enough, then they're willing to give that up.
So, let's.
$40,000 starting pay.
Yeah.
What else do we
$1
need?
base thing.
We'll just do the next budget workshop at the next board meeting.
No,
You wanna do it in a week? I don't know, we can get out and get everybody back in and get it all reviewed.
we'll have choice, because the 19th, we have to have the final budget.
The 19th.
At their second meeting in May, they have to
Okay.
be seeing the right budget, because I've got to advertise.
Okay, so next Tuesday at 5?
No, it's Monday.
Monday,
Monday, because
He
That's
gave me
okay,
Monday.
that's the second, okay.
Mr. Brian, did you have a question?
I just want to make a statement. The thing that is going to keep me competitive in the EMS world is 40 plus a COLA for the EMT, and the ALS person is 42,000. 42 for the ALS guy. And
Yeah, but they all got the same,
Right.
it just moved up.
It's,
It's
yeah,
the
it
same
is.
increase.
So, but watch, we can't control this, but as soon as we do it, we're going, the other guys, no matter what we do, they're in the way. Pretty much.
Well, I mean,
Well, we can't do that.
we can't do any more than what we're doing.
So 11 May, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, so more than
Ma'am?
that. And that means the department has to.
Ms. Rogers, Ms. Willis, do you need anything from us?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Board members, anything else that we need to put forward? Any other?
That's great progress, that's very.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Keel, all in favor say aye. Meeting's adjourned.